like to call to order the meeting of the Township of Hamilton Committee, Monday, March 4, 2019. Please raise for the flag salute.
Cheers, moving back. Okay, thanks.
Around, Ronnie. All right. Take your time. Okay. John, would you like to lead us, please?
Sure. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law by posting a notice of this meeting on the bulletin board in the municipal building and by publication in the Press of Atlantic City on January the 10th, 2019, and the Atlantic County Record on January the 16th, 2019. Mr. Gishard?
present.
Mr. Kurtz?
Here.
Mrs. Link?
Here.
Mr. Silva?
Here.
Mayor Schenker?
Here. We have a moment of silence for private reflection. Thank you. Number one, reappointment of Rita Martino as Township Clerk for a 3-year term, effective April 1st, 2019 through March 31st, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We need to do a roll call on this?
I would like a roll call on this.
I would love a roll call. Rita?
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Amen.
Yes.
Need to administer. We'll have the administration the oath of office to Rita Martino as a Township Clerk for a 3-year term effective April 1st, 2019 through March 31st of 2022. Administered by the Honorable Michelle Verno. Sorry there was no phone booth, but
That's a change.
did a great job.
Wait, we're gonna switch you because this is, everybody wants to get pictures of you.
There you go.
Sorry, I'm gonna put
You can come up if you want to take pictures. It's okay.
pictures of you.
Just because there's a judge here doesn't mean you can get in trouble.
Everybody got their cameras out? Show me
Which hand you got on the Bible, Rita?
left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. Okay. All right, everybody ready?
We're ready.
Okay. Repeat after me, please. I, Rita Martino,
I, Rita Martino,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established in the United States and in this state,
and to the governments established in the United States and in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I do further solemnly swear
I do further solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
I will faithfully,
impartially, and justly perform all the duties of the office of Township Clerk of the Township of Hamilton
perform all the duties of the office of Township Clerk of the Township of Hamilton
for the term of April 1st, 2019
for the term of April 1st, 2019
through March 31st, 2022,
through March 31st, 2022, to
to the best of my ability.
the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
It's an honor. Thank
It's
you
an
so
honor.
much, sir.
Gonna give you a speech?
Nice right hand.
Thank you. I did it right this
There is 30 seconds or so for a
Thank you,
speech if you'd
everyone.
like.
Thank you to all the employees too for coming. I just want to acknowledge Mrs. Joan Anderson. Retired.
It's nice for her to be here in case it didn't work out for you.
Yep. Now wait.
Joan, thank you very much for the support. All right, where were we? Additions and deletions of late agenda items to be considered for action tonight. We don't have any of those, so let's move on to early public comment on the agenda items, excluding items listed for public hearings. Michael?
Yes, Aileen Dix, 10A.
NA.
Good evening. I'm here to speak on 10A, which is the request for permission to advertise for Cove staff. I would like to remind the 5 of you that you know this past year has been pretty bad in my life on Park Road, the worst since I moved across from the Cove in 1986. I'll make my points as quickly as I can. You're asking to advertise for the Cove. I'm going to refer you, and I'm commenting to Mr. Sandman. He was absent, so he won't know about this. There was a Cove subcommittee appointed on May 3rd of 2010, and that subcommittee filed a report which is nearly 3 typewritten pages in the May 17, 2010 minutes. Colin Bell was the solicitor who was present at the time, and there is action in those minutes that set forth the policies to operate the Cove. It is, today I did find it in my emails. Rita and Steve Roberti have finally found this report. It's only 3 pages. I'm not going to read it. Hopefully tomorrow you will get this hard copy report. Roger, you would have gotten it on May 17, 2010. It was emailed at 4 in the afternoon. You will get this and those minutes for your review and hopefully discussion at the next township meeting as to the parameters you want to set for the operation of the Cove if you want to change what had been set by the 2010 committee. I will just tell you quickly, 3 lifeguards were approved, 2 beach inspectors. I hit the first 4, 1 second, please. It is imperative that a mature adult be hired to be the day manager. What has happened in these years since 2010, the manager has more been a younger person and could fly past my house arriving late for work. Manager has all the keys, the setup is late. The need for a mature person to supervise the young people, teenagers that are hired, is imperative. The work ethic that these children learn on this, their first real job, is imperative. It has to be better than it was, particularly last year. They've got to report on time, not just the manager, but the children. I asked during 2018, I was never given an answer. It is my understanding that the Cove staff reports to work at 10:45. The beach is open for swimming 11 to 6. From 6 to 6:15 is the put away lock-up time period. By doing that and paying the staff 7 hours for that 7.5-hour period means they don't get a paid lunch. If you pay 7 hours and they work 11 to 7, they're getting a paid lunch because you're paying 7 hours. I've Oprah time records. I have a file that thick on my kitchen table. And that goes all the way back to 2008. I would like it verified. Is that the working hours, 10:45 to 6:15? I would also like the law examined, as I understand the law, NJSA 34:2-21.4 any employee under the age of 18 has to have a precise daily time record proving when they got their breaks because they're minors. I Oprah'd those, it's a state form. I filed the Oprah, they don't exist. I conclude that means they weren't kept, but please verify the law. Did I interpret the law correctly? I don't want any more head down on the table with the hand sticking up in the, I could see it from my house. I was home all last summer because this other project that's involving my neighborhood, I was home all summer doing research, never got to the ocean once. So I saw everything. Jump in the fence. You can't expect children to tell their friends, stop jumping the fence. Right in front of my eyes, right by my computer room window. I want you to review the job description for the inspector. Beach tag inspectors. The Oprah I filed says they have to be 18. They weren't. Is it 18? 18, 19, 20-year-olds can tell those 14-year-olds, stop jumping the fence. I'm not being unreasonable. The biggest crush, and I know you're aware of this because I've already told you, there was a drowning in July 1983. Those children who graduated Huberson School in June of 1983 are turning 50 this year. Their hotshot basketball kid that would have been great at Oakcrest, Timothy Reed from MISPA, drowned at the Cove. The only night I've ever gotten in the car with my son and Johnny Masker to go to the Wildwood Boardwalk, we missed all of that god-awful nightmare. The allegation against this town was the lifeguards went off early. My neighbors and I this past year watched. Closed up, locked up, maybe the lights got left on, the windows got left open, stuff got stolen. They were gone by 6 o'clock. We can't have that. We can't have it. If somebody goes there at 9 o'clock at night and drowns, that's on them. They weren't supposed to be there. They're adults. Or maybe they weren't adults, but they shouldn't have been there. While we're responsible, if that's 11 to 7, that's our responsibility to keep people safe, not leave early. I pretty much covered what I wanted to tell you, but there was one more tidbit. I sent you an email within the month about the arborist need because of the current article on trimming your, while everything is dormant. The reason I did that, and I didn't do show and tell for you tonight, but if Judy, slow down when you pass my house, look up my driveway. There's a 6-foot log sitting by my garage door. It weighs 18 pounds. I took it home about 3 weeks ago so it wouldn't disappear. It fell out of those oak trees right inside the fence where the Hispanic family constantly ties their hammock and their little children play. If that log fell and hit a child, you're going to have a dead kid because 18 pounds and 6 feet long, it's there. Please take a look at it. I kid you not. You need to check out some of these trees also. I'm not saying cut them down. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if there's dead wood, literally and figuratively, cut it. I look forward to your discussion at the next meeting in 2 weeks on the 18th. Am I clear? Everything?
Thank you very much.
You don't need anything I said, you don't need to be
Anybody
repeated?
have any questions?
No, doesn't look like it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Yes.
If that tree had a branch that was how long? 18?
It's 6 feet long, Judy, because I can stand up and it's higher than my head.
I know at Lake Lenape, we had a very bad incident. It was not a death, but, you know, someone was very injured, and it was a long process to go through the liability of that. And so then we had to have all trees inspected to make sure
That's what I asked.
that they were not, you know, going to release a huge log or limb. So I think that's very important that we have them inspected.
Especially what's inside the fence. What's outside the fence is only going to maybe fall on a car or fall in the road or fall in my front yard, because I pick up sticks all the time. But logs are a whole different thing, and in that swim area, because you're aware of that, when I've lived near the lake almost my entire life, and when those storms suddenly pop up and come across that lake, you have a couple minutes to get away from the trees, to get into a secure place, which, by the way, you need to also designate an emergency plan for the staff, because they can't be huddling in these two frame structures under trees. They need to be directed to go into that bathroom if they don't have a car to sit in. I'm glad you reminded me of that little tidbit, Judy. I'm sorry, I sidetracked myself with that, because it was that tree that broke on August 3rd at about 11:15 in the morning. My neighbors reported to me that that Public Works had to bring a front-end loader to lift that log off that picnic table, and that family that was huddled nearby under an umbrella that allegedly refused to leave, our staff needs to know, you leave, you don't leave, call the cops. I don't think they knew to call the cops. They had to get out of there, standing under a beach umbrella in a lightning storm. Are you kidding me? Thank you.
Does staff have the authority, or should they have the authority to close the cove when there's storms like that?
Sure, certainly they have the authority to close it if it's unsafe.
Maybe before we move on with that, we need to have a conversation with somebody so they know that's clear to everyone that's working for us. Anyone else?
No.
Early comment? We'll move on to 5, 6, 7, and 8. Nothing. So we'll move on to the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through F.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. 10, personnel. Authorization to advertise for Cove staff. Anyone want to move it forward? I mean, we have to start hiring at this time of the year in order to have staff.
Right.
So I think that we can move ahead with this, but at the same time, we need to have a conversation.
I'll make a motion to move ahead with it.
Second it.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Approvals, minutes of February 19, 2019, regular meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion?
Second.
Second. Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. B, payroll and bills. Bill list total $3,951,947.99.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Rita, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes,
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Thank you. We move to reports. Mr. Administrator.
Nothing, sir.
Good? Mr. Solicitor.
Nothing.
Thank you. Never let us down, will you, Steve?
I won't.
That's good. Thank you.
Mayor and committee, I have a report dated March 4th. The first item is, I list as Chancellor's Place and Atlantic Electric.
Okay.
I've been in contact with Kenny Mosca. Atlantic Electric has interviewed 3 engineers. They're going to make a decision this week which one to hire. They know and they're committed to gain more storage capacity on the property. The lower basin on 32nd Street is not of enough capacity to take care of all the water coming off their site. We reviewed some drawings with them. There are some factors, there's some roof leaders that go into that basin, there's another stormwater basin that dumps into that basin. They need to reroute some of that stormwater into the basin in the rear and enlarge that basin in the rear. And there's a basin across the street, up the street on 32nd, that is not seeing any stormwater and it's dry. And that basin's 7 feet deep, and they know all this. And Kenny Mosca is committed to retaining his stormwater on his site. And I think that's going to go a long way to help out with Chancellor's Place. Over on Chancellor's Place, I've been in contact with 3 of the members of their stormwater board that came to the public hearing here a month ago. I met with them, I walked the property with them. I've reviewed the plans, and I'm going to attend a meeting tomorrow night at 7 o'clock with the Chancellor's Place that have invited me. I have some recommendation and suggestions. I can't be their engineer, but I could point out some of the causes of what I believe some of their problems are. They have about 40 houses on that property that are pumping their basements right now. Some pumps are running, there's some with water in their basement. And my early opinion on this, and I'll report back to committee in 2 weeks, but I feel like there's 2 of their basins were built at or below the seasonal high water table, and I think that contributed to the problems. There's some patterns out there, and I just want to review it all with the Chancellor's Place Homeowners Association tomorrow night. But I think they have some inherent problems with design, but I think I could show them that, and I'll provide them information that they could take to whatever engineer. Again, they're reviewing and interviewing engineers. They haven't hired one yet, but we'll find out tomorrow night what direction they're going. But they have some work ahead of them, I think, to try to solve the problem out there. But I really feel as though if we could, if Atlantic Electric could do their part, it's going to help an awful lot out there.
Steve, would it be helpful to try to pull the DNR report from that project when it was approved to see if everything that was buttoned up the way it was supposed to according to the report?
That's an excellent idea. I know all the bonds have been released. I checked that with Rita a few weeks ago, but I will look at the DNR.
Okay.
I will do that.
Thank you. Yeah.
The next item is Main Street. If you've been on Main Street today, you'll see we still have a problem with that manhole, Verizon's manhole at Linwood Avenue. It's seeping pretty heavy again today. They're committed again to put a drain line in. They're going to cut the street and install a drain line from that manhole. It's about 25 feet away. There's a storm inlet on Linwood Avenue. We're just waiting until the asphalt plants are open and get a little better weather, because we're going to be asking for substantial repair when they cut that asphalt. I'm also going to have them reset there's actually 2 manholes there. I'm going to have them reset those manhole rims so that it's not that pounding 2-inch drop when you hit the manhole that a couple of neighbors have complained about.
That manhole's about in the center line of the one driving lane?
Exactly in the center, and
In the
every
center
car
line?
hits it.
So we're going to be digging up our new road.
We're going to be digging up our new road, and we're going to infrared the asphalt, so
Yeah.
we're going to try to make it as seamless as we can. The next item is Lenape Plaza. This is the driveway by 5 Star Car Wash, Lenape
Right.
Plaza. At 11 o'clock today, I received a picture text of the repairs that were done today. I drove there late this afternoon, talked to Bob Sandman about it. I need to take a better look at the repair that was done. That entire roadway is in marginal at best condition, marginal. The 2 potholes that were filled, one was 7 inches deep and the other was 4 inches deep. So they were filled with asphalt millings today, and they were heated up. I just think there's still some cones out there. I need to just ride on it, take a look at it, and see if it's acceptable, and I'll have an opinion on that real soon.
Who is responsible for, repairing that? Is it Mr. Tunney?
It is. Guy Tunney owns that driveway and the 5 Star Car Wash. That driveway is actually on the 5 Star Car Wash property.
Right. Now, how about all the trucks and the buses and all those things that use that road, causing, I would believe, some damage to it? How does that work out? It's still his responsibility? He's running? I don't understand that.
Bob wants to.
I presume it was anticipated that that would be used by any kind of vehicle, particularly trucks, tractor trailers that would be servicing McDonald's and some of the other properties there that are commercial.
Yeah.
So it has to be substantial enough to handle all kinds of traffic, including them. Buses, I don't know about.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a bus there.
School buses and stuff like that I've seen there.
Yeah. But it has to accommodate any kind of vehicle, because McDonald's is serviced by tractor trailers, and so are some of the other businesses there.
Well, is there any way that there could be a surcharge for those people using it?
No.
No.
The road is privately owned by Lot 5, which is the car wash. It's part of that lot. There is somewhat of an easement to Lenape Plaza and to McDonald's, but it's poorly drafted. My office rendered an opinion that if it's not repaired, the township would have the ability to go in and repair it and lien Lot 5. But there's a 20-day wait period. We put them on notice. Hannah sent the notice out. So if it's not fixed and you want to fix it, it's just like cutting grass that's too high. You know, we're going to have the right to get that money back. It's a little bit of an extension of our ordinance, but I don't believe it's a leap. So we have a lever. And if Mr. Philippone is not satisfied with the fix that's there, he'll render that opinion to you and to Michael. And if I'm authorized, I'll take the steps that we need to take.
We'd have to give them another letter at that point in time?
No.
Or that's
We're
already
done.
Done.
We're done.
Okay, well, he has,
I will do a thorough inspection and let everyone know what I think of the road.
yeah, because I use it, so I'll inspect it too.
Steve, you don't know who did the repair, do you?
I do not.
Or did they just dump it in that hole full of water?
He said it was possibly Jack Motley or a friend of his that he told me that. I talked to him just about every day last week. Finally, today he did the repair. We texted each other. He sent me a picture text. I don't know who did the repair. Just construction projects briefly. Buffalo Pike, if you've been by the Starbucks there, I talked to Matt Oates. He's telling me about 2 more weeks he should be ready to open up. They're getting that outside seating area ready right now. So as soon as I know a date, I'll let everyone know.
Stephen, what about the no-name store going next door?
I asked him about that too, and
Huh?
they haven't signed a lease yet, so he officially can't tell me.
Okay.
He said, but don't worry. Outback Steakhouse, I had a meeting out there on Thursday, just to keep construction going out there, and their deadline to open is May 1st, because the Outback Steakhouse is closing in Egg Harbor Township, and they have a deadline of, I don't know how they're gonna make it,
They ain't gonna
but
make
May 1st is their deadline.
It's going to be tight.
Very tight. Welsh Springs Church, they've marked some boundaries out there. They haven't cleared yet, but I expect that to happen maybe this week. I contacted regarding our municipal chiller. I know we're coming up to, it's cold now, but we're going to need that chiller soon. I contacted Gaudelli Brothers, who's under contract with us. They will be here on April 1st installing the chiller, is the date they're telling me. It's going to arrive on their property in their yard on March 25th. They'll be here on April 1st installing that chiller. And that concludes my report.
How is the Conifer Realty, doing their due diligence on the, I notice they have, retention basins, and is all that up to snuff, or are they?
I don't know if Phil wants to report. Kevin Dixon is the municipal engineer for that particular project.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Mrs. Link. Conifer, their design engineer did come up initially with a plan for remediation in the basin. They've consulted with another engineer also that's working on a separate plan, so they are committed to do it. We're still holding their performance guarantee on the property with no release, and they are proceeding with their design work and consulting with their engineers. They weren't convinced that the fix proposed by their original engineer would be good enough, so that's why they went to the second party. And they'll be in contact with Steve and Kevin when they get the plan finalized on that.
Are they looking to expand that Conifer Realty? I mean,
Thank you. He does.
development?
They, as far as Conifer, they're
Done?
They're done with their part. The rest is still owned by the property developer, the property owner, who does have conceptual approval or general development plan approval for, I think it was 42 townhouses and some commercial space also. That's all market driven for those. But as of right now, there's been no action or activity towards getting any site plan approval on those.
People are moving in there, aren't they?
Yes.
Because I know there was over 2,000 applicants for those facilities.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, very good. Thank you, Phil.
Any other questions for the engineer?
Thank you for your report.
Thank you. We'll move on to Township Committee members. Judy, would you like to go?
This doesn't really pertain to our township, but it pertains to a occasion that I had to go to in Pennsylvania to celebrate my husband's aunt's 85th birthday. And she had something read that I think is always something good to hear. And I'm going to just read to you part of it. Let gratitude be your attitude. Every day of your life is a gift from God. Don't squander it. Don't waste it by being angry with anyone. Don't let it slip away by feeling sorry for yourself. Be grateful for this precious gift of life and spread it by being as happy and as thankful as you possibly can. Let your mind dwell on the good things which have happened to you. Let gratitude be your attitude. Thank you for your assets and don't let anyone else spoil your day. Enjoy every day of your life to the fullest. Realize that you can add to the joy of each day by making someone else happy. And that's my...
Very nice.
Thank you, Judy. John?
I don't have too much. I just want to say that I'm still trying to get over the fact that Bank of America building sold at auction for $120,000. It's just unbelievable. The woman was the sole bidder, and she got it for the bid, the opening bid, $120,000. My understanding is that it's a nonprofit group that wants to do a something called Caring for Caregivers. I'm not quite sure the whole content of what it is, but it's a nonprofit. And what an absolute steal for that corner with the parking and the drive-through and everything that they have there for that money was quite surprising. So I hope they are successful with whatever they have planned there. That's it, Art. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Roger?
I see the chief left. I was going to congratulate him. There's an article in the paper today about the Township Police Department solving 31 burglaries in the area, and I think that says a lot about the work that they do. The other thing that, excuse me, the other thing that I think we all should be bothered was when we learned that J.C. Penney's was going to close. The impact of that closing. Chief, I just mentioned that wanted to compliment your department for solving those 31 burglaries, and I think it says a lot about the department. So, would you pass on our thanks? I will. J.C. Penney's closing. Just as Sears rang through the township, and the lasting effects of their closing is going to keep hitting us this year, next year, and maybe the year after. J.C. Penney's closing is going to have a tremendous impact on us. And I think when we look at that, we have to realize that that mall has got problems. I mean, a lot of the stores are closing in there. I hate to see anything happen to it, so just keep in mind that it's going to affect our budget, just as Sears did. I mean, when you look at, and we've been in budget meetings, Art and I, along with the CFO and the administrator, and we're looking at things happening different than we anticipated. I mean, you remember every year when we did the PowerPoint, we put up the dollar sign where we told you the money was going? Well, one thing that was very noticeable this year, the schools are getting more of our tax dollar now. They went up to 54 cents of every dollar. And I think I've mentioned it for the last couple of meetings. We need help from the schools. Definitely do. And I think in any way they can look at the impact that they have, not only on bringing a good, educated group of children forward, but they've got to look at how they spend and be more wise about it and plan out things better. The other thing I was pleased to see tonight on the consent agenda, and I'm sure we all picked it up, was it looks like the Cologne Volunteer Fire Department is going to have their chicken barbecue this
Yeah,
year.
they got a lot of flack for
It was
missing
kind
out.
of a void in a lot of our stomachs last year because many of us liked that, so. And I think that's pretty much it, so. And hopefully at the next meeting, we'll be presenting the budget. The next meeting, township meeting, not this special meeting.
Thank you, Roger. Rodney?
I really don't have much, but I do want to follow on to what Roger said about malls, about our mall. Of course, I think, as you all know, that's true of all malls almost across the country. Amazon and other mail order places have put them out of business, and we have to keep that in mind in our planning for the future. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Rodney. I'm just going to say a few words on that. And the people of Hamilton Township have to realize that we are a retail town. This is what fuels the fire. And if we don't stop using the internet, these stores aren't going to be here anymore, and we're not going to have a way to pay our bills. The hole that the mall has left in our budget after their reassessment of last year is sizable. And it made this year's budget extremely difficult. It kind of took some of the plans that we had, and they all got put off to the side because you can't do more with less. And that's basically what it came down to. And you have to make tough decisions, and I'm afraid in the years to come, the decisions will get tougher. So we'll see. Hopefully with some of the new projects coming, hopefully with the expanded pilot program, we'll see some resurgence. But if we don't support these businesses, why should they come here? So I'll leave it at that, because it just makes me angry. I want to open up the public comment. Anybody in the public like to speak?
With this many people, there'd be other people talking. Well, good evening, everybody. I know I haven't been here for the last couple meetings. I've been trying to get a hold of Kevin Dixon just to get an update on where we go from here, but excuse me, a little bit of a cold. Unfortunately, nothing's changed for me at this point. I've been waiting to see with the test pits that they dug and everything else, but that basin, October 11th and counting. There's not much more I can say. I know the township has helped in that direction as far as, getting Kevin to get on it and do things, but I don't know if he presented at the last couple meetings an update on their test borings and what it means, because him and I had a couple discussions outside of here, and like I said, I know I saw him over there. I know the township has a lot of basins with issues and everything. I don't know what the cure is for the whole township, but for me, this basin's been said to be a problem. It was even said when this fix was going in that they didn't think it was going to be a fix. I feel bad for Chancellor Place people because I've been living the nightmare now for 14 years. It'll be 14 years, April 5th of this year. So, I'm hoping the township keeps, Kevin, praised that I'm here. I should say a prize, not a praise. I'd like to see some action happen at that base, and I can't speak for my neighbor because he's not here and I haven't heard from him. But it's a hardship it presents, on us as well, just because you can only pump that water so long, burnout pumps and everything else. So moving forward, I hope the township stays on top of the situation over there. The thing's full of trash, there's boxes, it's disgusting. I take pictures every day. There's no maintenance going on. There's nothing going on. And I know I'm going to get told that there can't be maintenance while it's still full. And it's now, what, at 5 months? But, somebody needs to go over there and actually, if you actually saw all the garbage that's over there, it's disgusting. So I just want to present, I want to thank everybody for, keeping Kevin on this, and, hopefully moving forward, he has some solutions that they can do something. But at the end of the day, I'd like to see something. I know you guys helped Tavistock and everybody else, but this needs to start going in a direction where they pump that thing out. I mean, how, $600-700 electric bills. My electric bill used to be $180 a month. I'm pumping money basically out my back. I do want to say thank you. I do appreciate it. I want to say hello to Phil. I didn't recognize you with the hat the other day. I apologize. It hit me after you walked away from me. It hit me. And I do want to thank you. I know you're on your way out and you're retiring, I believe. So congratulations and best wishes on your retirement, and thanks for all your help over the years. I didn't buy a boat. You didn't buy a boat? Come on. Once again, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Mike, can you reach out to Kevin and get some kind of an update, see where we're at with that? Thank you. Anyone else in the public like to speak?
These are the comments that just were made. I would like to make a couple of points. One, Roger, you were on the radio and talking about what the schools should or shouldn't do. We had to adopt a pilot in 2014. We now have 99, as I understand it, fully occupied apartments that do not pay a penny in school taxes. There are many school children now enrolled in our schools, which is a burden unexpected on the school districts because the occupancy was delayed for whatever construction reasons till after October 15th, which was the state aid cutoff. So everybody who has come in after the cutoff. There's not a penny in the school board budgets this year for all of these kids that came in with all of their needs to be met by state laws, et cetera. And I think you know what I'm alluding to. So how much can the schools cut when they have an influx of students? And I'm thinking there's the list is in my kitchen, 34 three-bedroom apartments. So it's conceivable 34 could have 4 children, 2 per room. We could
79 children.
79.
That's 79 now, but if you have 34 three-bedroom apartments and you put 2 to a room, 2-bedroom.
But Aileen, what I was referring to, they went out and bonded, okay? And for all the work that they're going out to for construction and the premium.
Talking about the repairs.
Yep, and they should have been addressing them year after year after year in their capital budget if they had one. Secondly,
All right, did you read
that's
the
the point I'm
itemized?
making. I'm not talking about the teachers or the children. I'm talking about looking at the structures that they have to maintain. And I think it's going to wind up where they're going to pay a premium on that. Now, the superintendent stood where you're standing now and told us we could all look at a $130 cut in our taxes once the bond was passed, okay? I don't think that's going to come to fruition. I doubt it. And I'm telling you, they like to spend. You know what it's like to spend and not spend. We went through a very rigorous period here, and especially with the strategic planning, and it didn't last for 3 meetings. It lasted over a year and a half. And a lot of that was what brought forth the fruit that put us in a great financial position, okay? As Art mentioned earlier, we're yet to feel the impact of the retail, the negative retail here. Now, a lot of the jobs in the area, too, are going to be lost, okay? And I think a lot of that is what sustains retail. I think Art talked about it maybe 2 years ago. His theme was buy local, okay? And I think in trying to encourage this. So the point you're making is well taken about the new kids that came in. But don't forget, Oakcrest lost a lot of their students to where? The vocational school. There's close to 500 students went there because They gave up programs in the high school here that the vocational school could fulfill for them.
Let's
So-
go back to the Hamilton Township bond ordinance, because that's where you want it to be. Did you see the itemized wish list? I received a copy, I was at the board on another matter in a private meeting in May a year ago. Whatever that ordinance, bond issue was, so I guess it's about a year ago. I met with them and they said, here, by the way, take a look at this. And I put it aside and didn't look at it. When I finally, not long before the vote came up, when I sat and looked at the itemized list of things to be replaced, what's the cornerstone on the Joseph C. Shaner Memorial School? Do you know the cornerstone? 1957. I was in third grade when my neighbor, Mr. Shaner, got killed. There are some ventilators in that building that are the original construction. I talked to Art about that. When I saw some of those things, Shaner School is 1957, Davies School is 1987, and the Hess School is 1992. They opened in September on a temporary CO. The schools are all old, and to suggest, and I don't disagree, make repairs along the way. The problem is that the state changes the rules and you can't sit on a bunch of surplus, so you could be building that rainy day fund. So when you have to do the boiler in Davies, which broke when I cracked a plate while I was on the board in the mid-90s, it was a 6-year-old school and a plate cracked. We limped on one boiler while we waited for a new one to be forged and brought down from Massachusetts to be installed. So there's a whole laundry list of things that are very old in that building. And Art, what did you tell me? What's the life expectancy of a boiler system, 20 years or something?
Oh, today? Yeah, about 25 years.
Yeah, and this stuff is already over 25 years old. So there's a whole lot to the story here.
Yeah, but you heard tonight they're going to replace the chiller here in another month or so. We keep looking at everything that has to be
And
done.
this was dedicated at the same time the Hess School was dedicated, November of '92.
Why is that ventilation system hasn't been touched all those years?
I can't speak to that. I just
Their
wanted to
budget-
point out, since you took me to the ordinance, I reviewed it and I was stunned.
And I was too, and I also feel they're going to pay premium rates to get some of that work done on the off-school year, this period, okay? And it's
They're
going to...
locked in on the 22 million. The other tidbit, because you're commenting about the chop on the budget because of losing ratables, et cetera, I meant to mention, I forgot to mention it, we have a bunch of clean community money that continues to sit there. That's the reason I was looking for the debt statement and the AFS, which were not up online, and they would be for last year. But they were signed in January, February of 2019. I'm telling you that I have spoken to Clean Communities a few months ago, a few weeks ago, I'm not sure how long ago, about using some of that money regarding the trees. And no, you can't. Clean Communities is strictly litter abatement, and there's no reason why, and I've said this 5, 6, 7 years ago, you can use Clean Communities money for Saturday and Sunday overtime cleaning the cove. You don't have to use taxpayer dollars. Litter abatement is a justified charge to Clean Communities, so there's one of the little holes in the budget. Don't be charging Public Works salary line for it. Charge it to Clean Communities. The trash cans that need to be replaced, because Title IX public bathing requires covered cans so the birds don't sit there and throw the stuff out. That's one of the other things I've gotten to watch over the years. You have to have covered cans. If you need to replace them, Clean Communities is a permitted use. So explore it, maximize, to obey the law, maximize the Clean Communities money. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else in public comment? Jim?
Yeah, well, I'm fed up with there are 604 school districts in the state, 604. 13 of those do not have a school. Yet a superintendent is still getting paid. There's no building standing. Yet a superintendent is still getting paid.
Yeah, I know.
You know, Jim, when you look at it, the state tells us what we can do and can't do.
Yeah.
And yet 1/3 of the state budget is debt. So who are they to preach to anybody?
That's where the problem lies, right there. You can get that 604 number reduced to 150, That's still seven districts per county, but it's better than nothing. It's a start.
Certainly not an answer to the problem. Anyone else in public comment?
Move to close the public portion.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Adjourned to executive session, personnel matters. Hannah Desmond, future employment, Ingrid Perez, reorganization of job duties. Sue Giberson, reorganization of job duties. Warren DeGrossa, reporting structure, and Christopher DiBiase, reporting structure. A motion?
So
I'll
moved.
make that motion.
Second.
I need to read the resolution.
Okay.
Be resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Hamilton that this meeting be adjourned to an executive session to discuss the following matters which are exempt from public discussion pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law. These are all the personnel exception. Hannah Desmond, future employment. Ingrid Perez, reorganization of job duties. Susan Giberson, reorganization of job duties. Warren DeGrossa, reporting structure. Christopher DeBias, reporting structure. Be it further resolved that the governing body may reconvene in public session and confirm the results of the executive session if there is a majority consensus for action to be taken on the matter tonight. Be it further resolved that the results of said executive session shall be made known as soon as the basis for confidentiality is no longer confidential.
So I'll move that motion to go into executive.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it.
Can we keep it here, Artie?
All right, the record should reflect 7:45, we're back on the open record. Discussions occurred in executive session were restricted to those that were announced, the minutes of which will be made available, at which time the confidential nature of it is no longer confidential. There was no other business discussed, there was no vote taken, and we're proceeding now to the open session.
Do we need a motion to open up?
You already
did. We're already open. Rita, could you read the resolution, please?
Sure. Be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Hamilton to appoint Hannah Desmond as Director of Community Development at $70,000 annually, effective March the 5th, 2019, with an increase of $5,000 after earning professional planner license to be obtained within 5 years. Need a motion. And
So moved.
That motion?
Second.
Second.
Wow. I know. We have a motion and a second. We actually have a few of them.
Take them all.
We have a roll call vote, please. Put them all down, Rita.
Mr. Gishar?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Speech.
Motion to
Do we
adjourn.
need- do we need to do the other part of it, or no?
Yeah,
Okay,
we're good.
very good. So then, I need a motion for adjournment.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second.
Another multi.
Slow down. You're getting
Multi.
better. You're getting too fast.
He's ready to go.
He is raring to go.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? The ayes have it. Meeting is adjourned.